this video, we're going over the new top 5 meta loadouts to use for both Battlefield 6 Season 1 as well as Redsec. If you're looking to drastically improve your gameplay, you came to the right place. Let's get into it. For class setup number 1, we're taking a look at the Cord 6P67. This is one of the lowest recoil assault rifles here in Battlefield 6, as well as Redsec. I highly recommend getting this unlocked. Now I'm gonna add, all of these loadouts are going to be low level friendly. You do not have to have a fully leveled up weapon to use a proper class setup. So with all that being said, for the optic in Redsec, I highly recommend putting on the ROM 1.75x. This is going to allow you to see people a little bit easier at longer ranges and win more gunfights. But in all reality, you should run whatever optic you're most comfortable with, as long as it is within 10 points. So you can rock all the necessary attachments. We are not going to be using a right accessory. For the suppressor, we are going to be using the long suppressor in Redsec, which is going to be keeping you off the radar when firing and also bumping up your recoil control, so you can outgun players a lot easier at longer ranges. Definitely worth running. For the next attach, we are going to be running a barrel, and the 415mm prototype heavy barrel is going to be amazing, improving your firing accuracy over extended periods. It makes sense to use this in Redsec so you can outgun players a lot easier at longer ranges. Now, you still want to burst fire, but this attachment is just going to make this assault rifle that much more of a laser. Now, to help out with recoil control even more, we are going to run the classic vertical, which is going to be bumping up even more recoil control. The cons are irrelevant. You're gonna love this attachment because you can essentially go full auto if you wanted to, even though you realistically should not, with the Cord 6P67. Now, for the magazine, we're gonna run the 36 round mag so we can have enough ammo to take out a fully plated player, or potentially more than one person at the same time if you are getting third partied or rushed. Definitely take a look at this attachment. And then for the ammo, all we're going to be doing is running FMJ. We have a 100 out of 100 blast setup. Once you build this Redsec build, you can see in the firing range, we don't have the fastest ADS, but at the same time, this is going to be a setup that has very, very low recoil, as you can see. This is going to be a Redsec build. I'm going to reiterate that. I have another build for multiplayer. Definitely give it a try if you want a low recoil assault rifle that is going to be absolutely melting players. Now, if you want to run this weapon here in multiplayer for the optic, I do recommend going ahead and switching out the 1.7x just for the OSA 7 1.0. It's going to be a little bit easier to use in multiplayer. You can run a gun with this a little bit easier. What I also recommend you guys going ahead and doing for the time being is taking off the underbarrel. We are going to come back to this. Instead, we're going to jump right over to the suppressor, and we are going to be putting on the CQB suppressor. All we need to do is keep ourselves off the minute when firing. We don't need any other adjustments here. So I recommend just going ahead and doing this for multiplayer. For the barrel, we are actually going to be swapping the heavy barrel for the basic barrel so we can have that faster transition to ADS. Overall, a lot better, so we can snap on the targets, get that first shot, and take people out a little bit easier. And then finally, for the underbarrel, we are going to be utilizing the full angled, which is going to be allowing us to have an even faster transition to ADS, and also it's going to be moderately reducing recoil. This is going to be a 95 out of 100 setup. Sometimes that happens. It's not that big of a deal, but you can see here in multiplayer, this is going to be a class setup built for that because the ADS transition is going to be faster, and we do still have controllable recoil. Now, if you want, you can run this in Redsec, but as you can see at longer ranges, the recoil control is going to be a little bit harder. You are going to have to burst fire a lot more, but you could run this realistically, but it is going to be a setup designed for multiplayer. For class setup number 2, we're taking a look at the PW5A3. Now, this is one of the best SMGs in the entire game, and the nice thing about this weapon, this loadout is good both in Redsec as well as multiplayer. So with all that being said, for the optic, or I should say technically the iron sights, we are going to run the iron sights. They're super clean. They're only 5 points to use, so we can have a bunch of other attachments on our class that are going to be significantly helping this weapon out. I highly recommend getting used to the iron sights. We are going to be running a right accessory, and I do recommend putting on the 5mW green, which is going to be bumping up that hip fire accuracy so we can dominate players, absolutely dominate players at close range. This is going to be helpful both in Redsec as well as multiplayer. For the next attachment, we are going to be running a muzzle, and I highly recommend putting on the CQB suppressor. This is going to be a nice attachment, just keeping you off the mini map when firing, overall helping us out flank, get behind the enemy team, and absolutely cause some problems, whether you are playing multiplayer or trying to flank in Redsec. Maybe you are coming up on a squad and you're trying to third party. Definitely give this a go. For the next attachment, we are going to be running a barrel, and the 245mm custom barrel is a massive W, improving that bullet velocity so you can get some faster time to kill, some more consistent time to kills, and it's also going to be improving your transition to ADS, which is a huge help with a submachine gun because we are going to be trying to run and gun whenever we can. For the left accessory, we are going to be skipping over this, not necessary with the submachine gun. For the underbarrel, we are going to be utilizing the folding stubby. This is a massive W, improving that recoil control and also giving you a faster transition to ADS, overall helping us out at those close, medium, as well as longer ranges. You are going to love this on the PW5A3. It's going to make this weapon a lot more snappier, and it's going to feel more like a submachine gun. For the magazine, we are going to be using the 30-round fast mag so we can stay locked and loaded. 30 is going to be plenty. This weapon has a very, very fast and consistent time to kill. I think you guys are definitely going to be enjoying this attachment on here. And then finally, for the ammo, we are just going to be running standard FMJ. We have a 100-point class setup. As you can see in the firing range, we are going to have a snappy transition to ADS. It's incredibly fast, as well as controllable recoil. Again, this is going to be a setup you can run both in multiplayer as well as Redsec and absolutely dominate lobbies. You can see with the hipfire accuracy, it is amazing. If you burst the hipfire, you can destroy people from ranges that realistically you should not be able to do so. I mean, it's crazy. That's how good the PW5A3 really is. For class setup number 3, we're taking a look at the SOAR 556 MK2, one of my personal favorite weapons in the entire game. Super low recoil and very, very consistent. For the optic, I like to run the 3VZR 1.75X. It's going to be amazing. This weapon is going to be hitting like a truck at longer ranges because it's incredibly easy to use. Definitely give this a go. This is going to work well in multiplayer as well as Redsec. Now, we're going to be skipping over the top accessory, the right accessory. We're going to jump right over to the muzzle, and we are going to be putting on the standard suppressor so we can keep ourselves off the radar when firing. The hipfire accuracy reduction is going to be completely irrelevant both for multiplayer as well as Redsec, so I would not worry about that whatsoever. This is going to be a very nice low-level build. So if you don't have this weapon fully maxed out, it's not that big of a deal. For the barrel, we are going to be using the 18-inch USLB. This is going to be improving your velocity and also giving you a faster transition to aim down sight. Now, once you go ahead and get the heavy extended barrel unlocked, the 18-inch custom, this is going to be a better option because it is going to be allowing you to have that recoil reduction over prolonged fire. But in all reality, this is still going to be a solid attachment because you can run this both in multiplayer as well as Redsec. So a universal setup. For the underbarrel, we are going to be rolling with the alloy vertical. This is a nice early level unlock, which is going to be bumping up that recoil control and offering no cons, which is going to be super important when playing both Redsec as well as multiplayer. You're going to see in the firing range, this weapon is an absolute laser and you can't go wrong with it. For the magazine, we are going to run the 40-round mag. Luckily, this is going to be an early level unlock, giving us plenty of ammo to take out more than one person at the same time, as well as a fully plated person as well. A great attachment you get very early on. And then for the ammo, we are just going to be running standard FMJ. This is going to be another 95 out of 100 setup. Sometimes that happens, but that is not that big of a deal. You guys can see here, the transition time is going to be relatively quick, and we are going to have an assault rifle that legitimately doesn't have any recoil. This is one of the best guns to use in the entire game. I highly recommend going ahead and giving this setup a try. Remember, this is going to be a low-level build, so you do not have to grind the game out that long to actually have a proper SOAR loadout that's going to be viable here in Season 1 and obviously in Redsec. Remember to burst fire at longer ranges to minimize bloom, and you're absolutely going to be dominating. For class setup number 4, we're taking a look at the B36A4. This is a solid AR. It has very controllable recoil, and it does have a great damage profile. We're getting some fast and consistent time to kills. For the optic, we're gonna be running the ROM 1.75X, but again, you could rock whatever you're most comfortable with as long as it is within 10 points. We're skipping over the top accessory, the right accessory, and for the muzzle, we are going to be going to the long suppressor. This is going to be a nice early level unlock, improving your recoil control and keeping you off the radar when firing. Once you go ahead and get the lightened suppressor unlocked, make the transition to this attachment, but it is going to be a later level unlock. So until then, the long suppressor is going to be a great choice. For the barrel, we are going to be utilizing the 510mm DMR barrel. This is going to be a nice heavy extended barrel for Redsec. This is going to be improving your firing accuracy over extended periods and improving that velocity, so you can have a very fast and consistent time to kill. This is a great attachment when playing on big maps like Redsec. So make sure you guys put this on your setup. For the underbarrel, we are going to be utilizing the classic vertical, which is going to be greatly reducing a lot of that recoil. The cons are going to be irrelevant. Definitely go ahead and give this a try on the B36A4. You're going to have an absolute laser, as you're going to see shortly in the firing range. For the magazine, we are going to run the 36-round magazine because we need to have as much ammo as possible so we can outgun more than one person, especially if they have on armor. And for the ammunition type, we're just going to run standard FMJ. Overall, a solid loadout. Now I'm going to go ahead and add, you can swap this out and put on the 6H6 for vertical, and you are going to have the availability to run the polymer case if you want to do so, but in all reality, I don't think that's necessary, especially for an early level build. Once you go ahead and set this loadout up, you can see here in the firing range, we are going to have a setup that has very controllable recoil. This is going to be one of the better assault rifles to use in the entire game, whether you are playing multiplayer or Redsec. You realistically could rock this build in multiplayer, but I am going to be showing you a setup you can use that's going to have a little bit faster handling, so you can get in and out of gunfights a little bit easier. You can see you can very easily outgun players at those longer ranges. Now, if you want to run this weapon in multiplayer here for Season 1, I do recommend actually swapping out the ROM. You do want to go ahead and put on the Mini Flex 1.0. That's just my personal preference, but again, you can keep it on. It's within 10 points. You can't go wrong with it. For the suppressor, we are going to be going ahead and taking off the long. We're just going to put on the standard suppressor here. It's going to be a little bit of a better attachment for multiplayer. We're going to be able to run some other attachments that are going to be more suited. We're not going to run the DMR barrel. Instead, we are just going to be running the 510mm fluted, which is going to be giving you that velocity and a faster transition to ADS, which is a massive W. Overall, a nice attachment for multiplayer. And everything else here is going to be the same. We are going to be keeping the classic vertical, and we're also going to be keeping the 36-round magazine on the setup. As you can see in the firing range, we have a little bit of faster handling, and overall a weapon that is still going to be easy to control as well. Definitely give this a try. A little bit faster, going to be geared up for multiplayer. Got to make some changes, but in all reality, you can run either or of these loadouts, whether you are playing multiplayer or Redsec. You guys can see it's going to be dominant. And finally, for class setup number 5, we are taking a look at the M4A1. Now, this is going to be a monster here in multiplayer. I have to go ahead and include this for this top 5. For the optic, we are going to put on the ROM 1.75X. This is going to be a great optic to use, close, medium, as well as longer ranges, but run whatever you're most comfortable with within 10 points. For the top accessory, we are going to be putting on the 5mm red to bump up that hip fire accuracy. You're going to see in the firing range, the M4A1, this carbine is amazing off the hip. We're skipping over the right accessory, but for the muzzle, we are going to be utilizing the standard suppressor to keep us off the radar when firing. The hip fire reduction is irrelevant because we just bumped that up with the laser. For the barrel, we are going to be using the 14.5-inch carbine barrel. This is going to be improving your velocity and giving you a faster transition to ADS. Everything we need with a carbine, we have locked in with this attachment. For the underbarrel, we are going to be utilizing the full angle. This is going to be a nice attachment on the M4A1 because it's going to be improving your recoil control, improving your weapon draw speed, and also a faster transition to ADS. Massive W. The cons are going to be completely irrelevant. This is one of the carbines that has very low bloom, so you're going to be able to dominate players no matter where they are on the map. This is ridiculously overpowered. For the magazine, we are going to use the 36 round mag. This is so we have enough ammo to outgun more than one person at the same time. You can go ahead and use this in Redsec as well if you want. And then for the ammunition, we're just going to run standard FMJ. We have a 100 out of 100 setup. Once you go ahead and build this build, you can see, Once you go ahead and build this loadout, you can see we have faster transition because of the attachments we're running to enhance that, as well as a controllable recoil pattern. This is going to be a weapon you are going to have to go ahead and burst fire at those medium ranges to go ahead and fully take advantage of this weapon's capability. But as you can see, this is going to be an absolute monster. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you an alternate setup here. If you cannot control the recoil with that specific grip, what you can do is put on the 6H64 vertical. This is going to be a nice option as well to minimize some of that recoil. As you can see, this is going to be a little bit easier to control, but again, with the M4A1, you are going to have to burst it at those longer ranges to truly take advantage of this weapon's time to kill. So keep that in mind when running this carbine. These are going to be the top 5 meta loadouts to use, whether you are playing Redsec or multiplayer here in season 1. As of right now, they're all low level friendly. Multiplayer, I always run support so I can revive my teammates, and also I'm gonna have max ammo. I have the P18, I have a defibrillator, the GPDIS to destroy incoming explosives, which is super helpful when trying to go ahead and capture points, play the objective. I have on the smoke grenade so I can make plays a little bit easier, transition from position to position, and revive teammates. And I have on the knife so I can run a little bit faster with it pulled out, because you do have a faster movement speed. Let me know down in the comment section what your favorite weapon is here in Battlefield 6, whether you're playing multiplayer or Redsec. I am really enjoying the SOAR 556 MK2. If you guys teared up with any of my builds, come back to this video and let me know your best gameplay. If you guys enjoy, drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications, been in boy ears. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.